A new leader for Texas Democrats is bringing a new campaign. It's called Blue Texas. And last week, Austin State Representative James Talarico headlined a rally in Plano. The event's all part of a statewide organizing tour as Democrats look to seize on any momentum during the legislature special session, as well as the 2026 midterm elections. Eye on Politics reporter Jack Fink recently spoke to the chair of the Texas Democratic Party, Kendall Scudder, about Blue Texas.
As the new chairman of the party, I've made a lot of promises. And amongst those promises are that we are building a grassroots apparatus in every corner of this state. No more neglecting areas that are, outside of major metros. We're going to show up in communities. We're going to shake people's hands, look them in the eye, tell them what we stand for, and ask for their votes. And that's a lot of what this partnership is. It's about broadening what we're doing around the state of Texas and bringing in the resources to be able to accomplish that.
Is 2026, which you're gearing up for, just like 2018 all over again in your estimation?
I think it may be better.
Why?
Well, heck, winning a U.S. Senate seat in 2018 sure would have been better, right? I think that we have that opportunity in this upcoming cycle. I think not only do we have this U.S. Senate seat that everybody seems to be talking about as the sexy topic, we have a gubernatorial race up. When a governor pushed as his pet project in favor of his East Coast sugar daddies to defund our community public schools and to give coupons to rich people to send their kids to fancy private schools on all of our backs, you have a lieutenant governor who is prioritizing eliminating THC products in the state of Texas, which no one's asking for. Just keep going down the ballot. And what you'll see is what's culminating into what could be the best year that Democrats have seen in Texas since the 90s.
And so what are you doing to try to galvanize the Democrats and perhaps, attract independents?
Well, I have now done 100 days as chairman, and I have done events in 45 counties around the state of Texas, and we're pulling big crowds sometimes, and sometimes we're not. I've really enjoyed showing up places where they have never seen a state chairman for the Democratic Party, and a lot of places where they don't have Democratic elected officials. Doesn't mean there aren't Democrats out there. They're working their butts off. They're getting out every single day, getting out of bed, eating glass, trying to make life better for people. And when we don't show up in communities, the Republicans are able to define us instead of us define who we are. And so that's number one, is I've been showing up. And we intend to continue doing that, sending our best Texas surrogates all across the state in communities that have felt forgotten. Number two is we're building the apparatus of our party. We've had half of our precinct chairs vacant, 20% of our county chairs vacant. That's ridiculous. It's derelict.
You spoke before about the Republicans defining the Democrats. I noticed in some of the comments after the launch of Blue Texas that here they go again with, backing from George Soros. So what do you say to that? And is that a concern at all to you?
I am not going to let a bunch of dudes with a bunch of sugar daddies in West Texas and on the East Coast start lecturing us about having resources coming into the state to help. Okay. Literally, Yass bought school vouchers for the state of Texas for $13 million. And Greg Abbott just sold it to him because he was the highest bidder. So no one gets to sit here and act like the Democrats getting some kind of reinforcement is a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. Voters are going to be able to see Democrats in parts of the state where they haven't before and be able to make educated decisions. That's bad news for Republicans, because I'll remind people that 30 years ago, when the Democrats were leading the state, your taxes were lower, your communities were safer, your bridges and roads were better, your schools were amongst the best on the globe. How's that going for you? You feel like things are better for you now after 30 years of Republican leadership? I don't think you do. And so the Democrats having the resources to show up around the state and talk about what our visions are, what we're going to do to try to make life better for people, and particularly to make sure that people see the impacts of what Republicans are doing.